Welcome back to video number 2 for Friday. As usual, the royals have been out and about and busy. Let's jump in and cover it all, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off here. King Charles and Queen Camilla, along with the Duke of Kent and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, had a Commonwealth event at St. James Palace ahead of King Charles and Queen Camilla visiting Samoa. This was a reception ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting taking place later this month. There were 375 guests, and one of the guests was Jamaican-born singer Grace Jones. She is now 76, although she sure as heck doesn't look it. I think she looks absolutely fabulous for her age. I remember when she was a Bond girl in A View to a Kill in 1985, and I love her neon green gloves. Anyway, as they move on, the king got to show off some dance moves because there was one guy in the crowd. He's former Samoan rugby player Freddie Tulagi, I think is how you say it, and he was dancing and he was trying to get the king to dance as well. I think the king was like shaking his booty during this party. But it looks like everybody had a really great time, and it was nice to see everybody so relaxed. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what Sophie was wearing at the reception. Next up, I love this story. The horse who led the queen's coffin at her funeral was given the equivalent of the animal's OBE. His name is Lord Firebrand. He's known as Yogi. He was awarded the PDSA Order of Merit in recognition of his outstanding devotion to society, including his role in the late Queen's lying in state and other royal events. Next up, Princess Anne went to a company called Longsally. Now, this is a company that designs and molds next generation products to, satisfy the needs of the market. Princess Anne met and spoke with members of the team, all the way from engineers through production staff and even apprentices. It appears this took place on October 2nd. And just as an FYI, the apprentices that she spoke to, over 75 of them. And then, of course, she unveiled a plaque at the end. All right, let's move on, but sticking with Princess Anne, I believe it's the same day, Princess Anne then visited E.ON's Blackburn Renewable Energy Plant in Sheffield. Of course, Anne toured the plant and learned how renewable energy is manufactured. The plant manager said that it was very wonderful to tell Princess Anne about all the developments that they have in place, from battery storage to potentially developing hydrogen for the city's steel manufacturers. And they recently announced proposals for a new heat network into the city. So they're taking steps to become a zero carbon city by 2030, Sheffield is. And there's a huge opportunity for the city. And they're, watching it to see it come to life. I think that's very admirable. And of course, at the end of the tour, as is typical for Princess Anne, she unveiled a fabulous plaque before she went on to her next visit. Man, she's a hardworking woman. All right, her next stop was to open a state-of-the-art medical research center after taking a tour of Sheffield University new Gene Therapy Innovation and Manufacturing Center. She also spoke to a number of researchers and patients about some of their new life-changing therapies. The GTIMC, they're saying, brings together researchers, clinicians, and industry partners to accelerate, the gene therapy. I love that. All right, moving on. Next up, on October 2nd, Prince William held an investiture at Windsor Castle, and one of the first people that he gave an OBE to was ex-Scotland footballer Ali McCoist, who got his OBE for services to footballing and broadcasting. Next up, we have Sir Mark Cavendish, who received his knighthood at Windsor Castle today. He's a cyclist who became an OBE Order of the British Empire. Apparently, he recently had a race with a record-breaking 35th career tour stage win, and then he insinuated it would be his last and he'll be retiring, but apparently now he's put that off. And the next person to get their medal is Karen Carney, who's leading efforts to reform the women's game at elite and grassroots levels. She's a former footballer with the Lioness who was also made an OBE. Next up, Welsh football referee Cheryl Foster was made a member of the Order of the British Empire. And finally, Sir Mark Spencer, a former farming minister, was made a knight bachelor by William. Congratulations, everyone. Next up, we have the Duchess of Gloucester. She went to the opening of Goldsmiths Fair at Goldsmiths Hall in London on September 23rd. She looked at all of the exhibitions. She met some of the craftspeople. Looked to me like she was thoroughly enjoying it. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's supposedly the UK's premier destination for independently made contemporary silver and fine jewelry, and it's held at Goldsmiths Hall in the city of London. It launched in 1983. Of course, the Duchess of Gloucester was greeted by the chair equivalent of the Goldsmith Company, Richard Reeve, and its CEO. So this is its 42nd year. Love it. Next up, Princess Catherine went with William and met a young photographer named Liz Hatton, who has a rare form of cancer. And these fabulous pictures came up with a message from Catherine that reads, "A pleasure to meet with Liz at Windsor today, a talented young photographer whose creativity and strength has inspired us both. Thank you for sharing your photos and story with us. W&C." This little girl loves photography as much as Catherine, and she has a bucket list. Oh, so sad. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what Catherine was wearing during that meeting. And of course, as soon as these pictures came out, they ricocheted all over the world, and Catherine has taken over the front page of all the papers, as she should. All right, let's move on. All right, back to Sophie really quickly. She attended the 10th anniversary of the People's Dispensary for Sick Animal Order of Merit at the Reveler. And I wouldn't have known if it hadn't been for Remoulade Sauce. Thank you so much. I haven't been able to find the photos anywhere. Moving on. Next up, we have Prince Edward, who was in Northern Ireland for the 25th anniversary of the Joint Award Initiative, where the Duke of Edinburgh Award works in partnership with the Irish Gaelic, which is the President's Award, which was established in 1999. Edward went to St. Catherine's College, where students showed him what activities they finished for their awards, including woodworking, baking, and GAA coaching. Representatives from the GAA were also present, and some of the students demonstrated wheelchair Gaelic. Now, one of the students there who completed her bronze and silver Duke of Edinburgh awards was helping with the wheelchair demonstration. And when Edward left at the end of the day, he left with a hurley stick, a jersey, and a lesson in wheelchair football. All right, next up, Princess Beatrice threw Sienna, who's turned 3, a unicorn-themed birthday party. I love this picture. And what little 3-year-old? Remember, Charlotte used to love unicorns. Moving on. All right, I just wanted to touch on this next. King Charles is apparently launching some venture where you can pay £250 and go to Balmoral Castle and have a fine dining experience. Would you do it? I would. And finally, William took a man's night out, because when he takes a man's night out, there are actual pictures of it. He is an Aston Villa fan, we know that, and he was in the stand watching them play against Munich. They were playing against Germany. This is playing its first home game in Europe's elite club, and guess what happened? They won! Oh my God. You know that William was having a cow up in the stands. Apparently, they're claiming that he actually lost his voice from all the screaming. And in case I didn't just let you know this, while it was their home game, it was their first home match in 41 years. So it's a long time. Anyway, before the match, we know that he is patron of the English Football Association, and he went behind the scenes and met members of Villa's 1982 Europe Cup winning team. Oh my God. Yeah, I just love him. And with everything going on at home with the children and with Catherine and with his dad and with his brother, I'm glad he got to go to a football match. Good for him. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications, even though you probably won't get them. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, my Amazon wish list, and my physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund this month, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.